Hello everybody, welcome to another video from my series Quick Thoughts on, in which I always talk about different stories from the rich Star Trek universe. 50 years and a few days ago NBC aired for the very first time the next episode of the third season of classic Star Trek, called Plato's Stepchildren. And these are my honest opinions about it. Well, what can I say? A few days ago I have done a video about the next episode of Star Trek The Next Generation called The Child, and I had a problem. I had way too many things to say about it. So I ended up splitting the planned video into two parts. But what about Plato's Stepchildren? Well, I have the opposite problem. I have nothing to say about it. What is there to say? There is one famous scene, you surely know which scene I am talking about, but the rest is pretty forgettable. The plot can be described in a couple of sentences and it's just so boring. The Enterprise reacts to a distress call coming from a planet which should have no inhabitants. When they arrive, they are greeted by a dwarf, or a midget, or a little person, or whatever is considered politically correct in 2018. To be honest, I don't really care. I will use the term dwarf. Hopefully nobody considers that to be offensive. The planet is inhabited by a colony of people with telekinetic powers who call themselves Plato's Stepchildren, because they lived on Earth thousands of years ago, where they fell in love with Plato's philosophy. Their leader, named Parman, needs medical help because he scratched his leg and it got infected. And he's dying. McCoy, of course, wants to help him, but Parman is a jerk and he steals his hypo and injects himself. He gets into a stage of delirium and starts telekinetically throw things around, and the effect is so big that it even affects the Enterprise. The ship shakes so violently and might even get destroyed. Down on the planet, Parman is attempting to kill Alexander, so McCoy has to put him to sleep. Parman, not Alexander. Now, for whatever reason, they don't get the hell out of there, but stay, and that's a problem. McCoy is the doctor, so he can't harm his patient. Parman's wife, Philana, explains to our heroes that they arrived to this planet 2000 years ago, and they developed their mental powers and basically stopped aging. And we are also told that Alexander, the dwarf, is the only one who doesn't have any special powers, and that is the main clue for McCoy finding the magical elixir which will give him superpowers later in the episode. Kirk meanwhile tries to talk senses into Parman, but he ends up forcing Kirk to slap himself. Later, Parman tries to apologize to Kirk, Spock and McCoy, and he and his wife offer them presents. He hopes that McCoy will stay there with them because, as his accident showed, they do need a doctor. The problem is that McCoy doesn't want to stay, but Parman doesn't take no for an answer, which means that the scene ends with Parman torturing Kirk and Spock in front of McCoy, with the intention to persuade him to stay with them voluntarily. Well, Parman doesn't seem very smart. You really want to do this in front of a man who you will later trust enough to give you your chemicals, let's say that way, for healing? Why does he think McCoy won't give him something which will look like medicine but ends up killing him? They have telekinetic powers but not telepathic powers. Well, this is the majority of the episode. Our heroes being tortured. It's not very pleasant to look at. Back in their quote-unquote cell, McCoy compares Alexander's blood and Parman's blood, realizes that Parman has more midichlorians, or chironide, or whatever it is called, so he synthesizes it and injects all three of them with it. Alexander doesn't want a dose because he doesn't want to be just like them. It's interesting that the smallest actor in this episode is the biggest hero of this story. But their discussion is interrupted because Uhura and nurse Christine Chapel are forced to beam down. Later that evening, everybody is dressed up like members of some American fraternity, pretending to be Greeks, and they make a show for the Platosian audience. After some poetry, they are finally coupled together. Spock goes with Chapel and Kirk with Uhura, and they are being forced to kiss. So let's talk about the only really memorable scene in this episode. The common myth is that this episode contains the first kiss between a white man and a black woman aired on American TV, or the first interracial kiss on American TV. I am very sorry, but I have to break some myths now. First of all, I think it's unfair to use terms like white man and black woman. Bill Shatner is Jewish, which is mostly not considered to be white, and Nichelle Nichols is technically mixed race because her grandfather was white. So let's drop the first version. But is it at least the first interracial kiss aired on American TV? Well, sorry, no. First of all, it wasn't a kiss. When I was creating the video comparing the visual effects from this episode, I checked this part frame by frame in my video editor, and unfortunately I think their lips never touch. Maybe they do touch after the fade out, but I'm pretty sure their lips don't touch in the finished version. But let's say that they do kiss, it's still not the first interracial kiss on American TV. I Love Lucy, another Desilu show, has shown regularly kisses between a white woman and a Hispanic man, Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball. I Spy has shown a kiss between an Euro-Asian woman and a white man in 1966. By the way, this Euro-Asian woman was France Nguyen. She also had a kissing scene with Bill Shatner in an episode which was produced before this one. But because it was aired after this one, I don't really include it here. What I will include here is a December 1967 episode of Moving with Nancy, which featured a kiss between Nancy Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. So, sorry for busting some myths, but even though it's technically not true, it's still a great story, isn't it? But how to label it properly? One of the first depictions of a hint of a kiss between people of different ethnicities on US TV? I don't know, but it's not really that important. As I said, this is the only memorable scene from the episode. After the kissing, the men get whips, and are supposed to be whipping the women. And when I see Kirk preparing to whip Uhura, I can't believe that this episode could be filmed today. But thankfully, before it can get any more awkward, the chemical kicks in and Kirk and Spock get the same powers which the Platosians have. So now both Parman and Kirk use Alexander as their toy. He has some sharp object in his hand and wants Kirk to let him kill Parman. And it looks like Kirk wants to let him stab Parman. Why? This doesn't really feel like the Kirk I know and love. But Parman thankfully gives up, and they let him go. And our heroes take Alexander with them to a place where things like skin color or size don't matter. This episode should be great. It has some great moral messages, it has some nice acting, it has some nice social commentary, it has even the famous kissing scene, but oh boy, it is boring. A huge amount of the runtime consists of people being tortured or dealing with the fact that they are tortured. These scenes are both unpleasant and not entertaining. And unfortunately, I have to say that some of the torture scenes are, well, almost funny. I shouldn't be fighting the urge to laugh when I see characters I genuinely like being treated like that. And why is it called Plato's Stepchildren? The title suggests that it will be dealing with Plato's philosophy, but it's not really important in any part of the story. Was the part lost during the rewrites? On my standard scale from 0 to 10, where 0 is complete garbage, 10 is a masterpiece, and 5 is just average, I would give this episode 3 out of 10. This is one of the worst episodes in the season, but not completely awful. But as always, these were just my opinions. Feel free to let me know what did you think about this episode. Did you love it, hate it, or did you think it's just average? If you like this video, please press that thumbs up button, and if you have some free time, you can check any of the other videos I have on my channel. You should see some links on screen right now. Thank you very much for watching, and see you soon, hopefully tomorrow, with another video where I will compare the Blu-ray and DVD editions of the next episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. See you very soon, and bye.